Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CPA Moms podcast. I am your host, Nicole Kehl, and the brand ambassador of CPA Moms. Today, I am so thrilled to introduce a woman who just really embodies the heart and soul of CPA Moms, Frances Cortez. Frances has over 30 years of accounting experience and is the founder of Cortez Business Solutions, where she has supported more than 100 clients. She has grown her firm from a one-woman operation to a team of 8, all personally trained by her. And she has built this business model that is just rooted in flexibility, mentorship, and family first values. But she didn't just create this firm for herself. She has really created a movement within her own family and community. By offering these remote, flexible roles, she's helped the women in her life re-enter the workforce with confidence while also raising their families. And that just really has helped them reclaim their professional dreams. I am so honored to have you here with me today, Frances. Welcome.
Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, can you just start us off with just a little background on your journey into and then through accounting? What drew you to it, and then a little background in what has happened in that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as I can remember, I always knew I needed to do something around numbers. I have always loved math. Since I was very, very young, probably third, fourth grade. I was really fortunate that it came very natural to me, and I just gravitated towards math. When I was probably around a junior in high school, I heard about, CPA and accounting, and I thought, that sounds cool, right? It's numbers, it's math. So I really kind of set out to really like, I want to be a CPA. I want to be a CPA. When I started, college, that was still my intent. I did find out early on that, this was a really long time ago. We're talking, 30 plus years ago. And there was only one form of a CPA license. You had to do audit work. And
Mm.
honestly, as much as I love numbers and, now I really love the forensic side of accounting, it really was like, what am I going to do with auditing? That sounded really boring. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. So I ended up just kind of going more high level business administration, really still with an emphasis in accounting, and just kind of started there and, got into the workforce, started kind of my career, worked my way up to a corporate controller, still surrounding accounting. Um, Back in kind of like, a while ago when I would get bored, my natural thing was go back to school. So I did get my master's after my baby was about 2. So I had my daughters, went to school full time, got my master's, and really just loved the business environment. But I was really intended of I'm going to do the corporate ladder. I was not by any means entrepreneurial. My husband was more entrepreneurial than I was. I'm like, nope, I'm doing what I'm supposed to. Got my degrees, climbing the corporate ladder. Really wanted to kind of get to the as far as I could in the corporate world. And if any of you have heard anything about my story, this me becoming an entrepreneur and business owner was not by choice. I was laid off from corporate America in 2009 at the peak of the real estate crash, and I probably sent out well over 100 resumes. It was actually quite depressing that I couldn't find anything. Obviously, a lot of it, you're overqualified, blah, 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 blah. We've all heard it. And my husband's like, do your own thing, do your own thing. I'm like, no, what would that look like? Like, no, 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 that's not me. But I kind of had no choice. And I was introduced to Miami right literally probably a few months after she started CPA Moms. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Right. I got to do something. I got to work. And really, her mentorship and learning about the entrepreneur world is what kind of like, okay, I can do this. I humbled myself to just do bookkeeping, being a consultant. I was like, very early on, I'm like, yeah, this is boring. I want more. I want more. And then over the years of working with CPA Moms, we developed, a partnership. I grew. I, really embraced Mayumi's mentorship and to becoming more of a business owner. And when I kind of set out to do my own thing. And, obviously I still stayed connected with CPA Moms for many, many years. I was like, yeah, I can do this. I can be a business owner. And it's really just, again, it didn't happen because I wanted it. It's just happened. And it's been, the greatest blessing, the greatest challenge, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
That's so funny, interesting. I mean, you started off want a CPA. Okay, wait, maybe not. Will never be an entrepreneur. Okay, wait, maybe I will, right? And that, I mean, that's how everybody's journey goes, right? Is you have one idea in mind and then you shift and you change as you go through life and you sometimes end up somewhere you never thought you'd be.
Yeah, I think it's, fate was created for me and I was just resisting it for many years.
Yeah, and that happens.
Definitely.
So looking back, what is something that you wish that someone had told you early on in your career?
Probably early on in my career, it was you don't have to do it all.
Hmm.
Lean on the people that are here to support you and, don't feel like you have to do it all. And just, it's okay to not know.
Yeah. Wow, those are two like lessons that are, I think, hard, especially for women. Like, you don't have to do it all. What?
And not just that, it's the mom, definitely the mom in me. Like
Yeah.
you just grow up and you become a mom and you realize that's just your role. You do have to do it all.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a generational thing. I don't know if it's how I was raised. I really don't know, but that was just like how I thought my whole life had to be, is I had to do it all and I had to take care of myself and, rely on myself and not lean on the people that are there to support and help me.
Yeah. So I know, I mean, you've been doing this a long time, having your own business. Can you think back to when you first started and that shift from employee to entrepreneur? And I tell people all the time, one of the biggest things that you don't realize that you have to do is make so many mindset shifts. So can you think back to that time and remember some of those mindset shifts that you really had to go through?
I think the biggest one is, realizing that what you're doing for you. And sometimes, especially as, women, as moms, we put ourselves last, right? And realizing that, wow, I'm doing this for me. So I have to shift of I'm working for me, I'm not working for somebody else. And even with my clients, I don't look as me working for them. I look as me partnering with them to help their business. So shifting from working for to working with and partnering with was definitely very challenging in the beginning.
Yes. Yeah, that's a hard one because I mean, we are all trained to be employees from a very, very young age. Our entire education system is built around follow directions, do what you're supposed to do. So,
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I even for the first few years, I resisted like, okay, fine, I'll do this. And there was probably 3 or 4 occasions in the first 5 years of opportunities of going back to roles that really, were like, okay, that sounds really cool. That sounds interesting. Do I leave this world and go back to being a W-2, going back to being an employee? And after the constant, like, the pros and cons, I'm like, no, no, I can't. This is not me anymore.
right. Yes. Yeah, I think, I mean, I'm for sure the same way. I would be interested in seeing just kind of stats on that because once you taste this, like, not that it's easy, it definitely has its own difficulties in it.
Yep.
But the flexibility, the freedom to be able to shift and be there for your family and all that, like, you couldn't pay me enough money to go back.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like I said, I've been approached by, a couple of headhunters of, opportunities, you know, 5 years prior to that, I probably would have jumped on it in a heartbeat, and but I was like, no, I've never worked harder. It's very hard. It's especially working from home, the remote, being at home in my home office. It's very hard to turn it off. I think that's been, if I don't know if you're going to ask this question, that's probably been one of my greatest challenges, even 16 years later, to turn it off because I work from home.
Yep.
But I still would never, ever go back to work for anybody. Like I would never trade this for anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, that was my next question. What has been your biggest learning curve? So there we go. That's
Yeah.
you would
Yeah.
say.
And I don't know that, I mean, I don't know that anybody perfects it because you have different stages in your life. I mean, my biggest challenge in the beginning is my kids were younger. They weren't babies. I kudos and, kudos to women who do this with their babies very young. So my girls were middle school, so a little bit older. I had, a good amount of time in the day that they were at school, so I could focus on this. But still now it's different challenges. My mom lives with me.
Mhm.
I have doggies, so I have different challenges that trying to balance everything is always to me a work in progress. When you
Yeah.
think you got it, you're like something new pops up. Okay, how am I going to handle this situation? But I think the beauty of it, what is such beneficial to being a business owner, is I'm handling this. I don't need permission from anybody, and I will take care of it at the pace that I know I need to and I can for what is needed. And that's, I think, what's one of the, like, that's definitely something I would never, take for granted is I make a choice and I do it based on my schedule, not anybody else's.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I would say one of my biggest learning curves was, I guess, setting boundaries, or I guess mindset shift. I don't know what you want to call that, but that was one of the biggest game changers for me in mine. And that's kind of, I feel like, related to yours, right? Is it's hard to turn it off.
Yeah.
And I had that same thing, but learning and that to set those boundaries, but then also to enforce those boundaries and sometimes enforce those boundaries with myself
Yeah.
was one of my biggest things that I had to do. What are some boundaries that you have had to set and then enforce in your journey?
Some of the boundaries, there's definitely some of those physical boundaries that just because I'm home, it doesn't mean I'm available.
Yes.
So my door's closed for a reason. I'm on a call or I'm working and it's like, but you're here, you're right there. I'm like, I'm no, just pretend I'm not.
Right.
And so it's just not, boundaries for me it's boundaries for my loved ones that are here. So it's a challenge, I think, from anybody, that has family at home. The other boundary that it's definitely been challenging in the sense of my clients, but at the same time, it's kind of what I've created. And I feel what sets me apart is, my core value is service. It's not about my accounting by any means. It's about my service. And what sets me apart from my clients going anywhere else is I service them, but I genuinely treat them as family. Good or bad, that's who I am and that's what I do. And so the boundaries definitely, there's a lot of gray areas, but as I've progressed, as I have a team, as I have others that help me in this journey and help me with the business and, that I've brought on, I'm able to create the boundaries because I have more support.
Mhm.
So when I didn't have the support, there was no way for me to create boundaries because it was just me. So part of growing and training and mentoring and feeling comfortable that somebody else can handle it is help me create boundaries where I can start to focus a little bit more on me and what's next and what I want to do and how I want to run the company. And then, that kind of passes on to my team and my clients as well.
So speaking of service, I have heard so much about your just very high level of customer service. And I believe you have never done any marketing. Is that still true?
So that's definitely true. I've been extremely, extremely blessed to grow my business on referrals. Years ago, probably about 12 years ago, just partnered with a CPA that at that time, he single-handedly probably gave me 75% of my business. And it was part of just providing, service to his clients and making his life easy. And I just started picking up clients and then I would get referrals from, with those clients and other clients. And I've been fortunate to just grow based on 100% referral business, whether it's colleagues, tax CPAs, existing clients, growth within them, friends, family, like just anybody. And not even necessarily a warm market because these are people that some of them I don't know, but so and so said, call Frances. And it just kind of went from there. It's been, really easy. Most of them are fully vetted that come to me. And it's, again, a lot of times it's a tax CPA kind of saying, listen, if you want me to continue doing this for you and helping you, you need to talk to Frances and you need to get things in order. So they kind of sell for me.
Right.
Yeah, I've been just again really blessed and fortunate.
That's incredible. I would say, take some credit there, right? Yes, some of it may just be a blessing, but it also has to do with what you're doing and the service that you are
Yeah, I
delivering and the
honestly,
care that you're
Nicole,
showing.
yeah, honestly, I mean, sometimes it's kind of crazy because I care more about their business than they do about their own business, which is quite funny. But it's because they're there to, they have a product or service that they created and that's what they want to do. They don't want to run their business. They don't want to deal with this side of the business. So I tend to, put all my efforts in to help manage and partner with them to say, let's do this and let me help you. And why are you doing that? That's what we're here for. And just go grow your business or go do what you set out to do. You didn't set out to run your accounting. Like that's not what it's about. One of my pivotal points was when I stopped doing my own accounting. I don't do my own accounting. Like, why would I do that? And that was hard for me. Like it was really hard to let that go. But it was such a aha moment of like, okay, like I made it. That was like where I felt like, okay, I made it. I don't
Mhm.
have to do my own accounting. Wow, what does that look like?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just having that blessing of, service. Again, my very first job was service. It was retail. I mean, I didn't love it, but I've been in the service industry for such a long time that that's been like my core. And then the products and the other values that I bring from accounting and I'm sure you've been in this role. I think I'm a counselor 10% of the time, an accountant probably 50% of the
Yeah.
time. I don't shy away from computers. So sometimes I'm IT for my clients. Somehow I ended up HR and it just becomes like, okay, call Frances. If she doesn't know, she'll figure it out. And
Yeah.
it's just become that full service of support and partnership with the client. And then
Yeah.
and again, family. I mean, some of my clients, they're like families, when they have situations happen in their family, it hurts me too. I'm like, oh my God, but they've been so supportive of family stuff and emergencies that I've gone through that I know, like, if I go above and beyond, I'm going to get that back when I need it. And it really has been proven over the years that I've had, family life and situations happen with me.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I think that's one of the aspects that we don't think about, especially before starting a firm when you're just in corporate or you're in public accounting, right? That the connection piece of it and how important as an entrepreneur, a business owner, when you are in these people's lives and in their businesses every day, like how important that piece is. And I totally agree with you. It is, you are going through life with them and experiencing all the things that they're experiencing. And as you said, the more involved you are, like those to me are some of the best clients, the ones that involve me in all the things, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, well, I'm an accountant, don't do that. But it does help you understand, the holistic vision of their business. And when you're involved in all of that, it helps you do the accounting better too, and just builds that connection even more.
Yeah. And that's the important, like you said, I mean, you can't stress that enough. It's the connection. I don't, I've been, been able to handpick, I get referrals. It doesn't mean I have to take them, but because they're fully vetted and, the sources are people that I trust, and, I have amazing, amazing clients that truly care and vice versa. So when I have a client call me up because her daughter needs to fill out a FAFSA application and she's like, Frances, what do I do? I've never done this. And I'm like, okay, well, I haven't done one for a very long time, so I don't know how much has changed, but okay, let me see what I can do.
Yeah.
So every year, her daughter now reaches out to me. She's like, Frances, I need help. So I'm helping her with her FAFSA every year. So not part of our traditional accounting role, but I have a lot of the numbers, obviously. And So I'm like, why not? I mean, it's an hour of my time, to me minimal, but what it sets and what it creates in that service and that connection is far greater,
Yeah.
tenfold for sure.
Yeah. Beautiful. So you mentioned that you really had no intentions of ever being an entrepreneur. So what has helped you build that confidence and then maintain that confidence as you shifted into that role?
I mean, I definitely like to say, getting the referrals, like knowing that people trust me and trust my work and my work ethics, that I've been able to grow the business with those referrals. Because when you're out there looking and you're meeting strangers, I mean, you're having to prove a lot, right? I mean, I have clients that just hand over everything. I do some CFO consulting for some of my clients. So here, you're a signer, pay this for me, do this, and the trust to give me access to everything. That's where I feel like, okay, that means a lot and I don't take it for granted. And it's able to make me feel like I'm in the right spot because I've developed that over the years. I didn't just like, even the CPA when I first met him, he didn't know me. I just started working on a mutual client and I, proved what I could do from an accounting standpoint. And then I developed the partnership and the relationship and, allowing that and the trust and it just kind of, blossomed into where I'm at today.
So we've talked about the connection from you to your clients, but on the flip side of that, where would you say you found the most support, mentorship, community on the professional side and accounting side?
I think for the most part, just the business colleagues that I've met along the way, from, Miami with CPA Mom and, to another consultant that I worked with that I met through CPA Moms, partnered with him for a little while, to the point now where I handle his personal and his parents, the trust but their experience that goes far beyond my experience. And they've been business owners and entrepreneurs probably twice as long as I have. And that I know that if I need them, they're a phone call away. And as I've developed and partnered and learned and met newer CPAs, I seem to have been connected with like-minded and service-based away from the big firms, the very small, small tax professionals that think like I do, that are also like, what do you need, Frances? Like I can email any one of my business colleagues that's a tax CPA or a lawyer or a client that's a lawyer or a tax CPA and ask a question. And it's never about anything other than what do you need and how can I help you? And so I have those resources that I know I can lean on if I need to. I remember I don't know it all. I do come across things that I have to figure it out, or I need to, reach out to my resources to help me figure it out, and not feel like I can. Like they're very open, and again, it goes back to building those connections early on and having those resources.
Yeah, and that support is really priceless
Yeah,
for sure. So if there
definitely.
was a younger Frances listening to this podcast, what would you want her to hear?
Oh my goodness, that's a tough one. Um, I think the biggest thing is if I knew day one that I wasn't alone in this, I probably would have reached out to mentors and partners and colleagues and people, whether I knew them or not, to help me along the way instead of in the beginning me trying to figure things out and taking more time. And just remember, there are other people who have done it before me. I don't need to invent the wheel. I don't need to reinvent the wheel. I need to reach out to the what's out there. And in this day and age with computers and resources that we didn't have, 30, 40 years ago, um, utilize that. So don't feel that I'm alone in the beginning.
Yes, yes, well said. So to close this off here, what is one thing that you have learned along your journey?
The one thing that I've learned is that my goal, is sharing. Learn to share what I know, learn to pass it on, and not try to feel like I'm the only one and I have to do it. And just being able to let go of what I've learned and let go in a way where I can teach and mentor for the future.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Frances, for being here. This has been great.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'm honored to be asked to do this. So I appreciate it.
Yes. That's it for today's episode. At CPA Moms, we believe women can have a successful career and raise a happy family. If you are ready to embrace work-life harmony and connect with like-hearted women, join our CPA Moms Facebook community. Just click the link in the show notes or search CPA Moms on Facebook. We cannot wait to welcome you. Until next time, thank you for being here. We see you, we believe in you, and we can't wait to grow with you.